It started with a whisper, soft, low, and cold, like breath against the nape of her neck. Lena had only moved into her grandmother's old farmhouse because it was free. After her divorce, with no savings and nowhere else to go. The idea of starting over in the middle of nowhere didn't seem that bad. A little paint here, some fresh curtains there, and maybe, just maybe, she could begin to forget the life that had fallen apart. The house sat crooked on its foundation, groaning with every step, like it was still waking up after years of being ignored. Most of the mirrors in the house were covered with dusty white sheets, something her grandmother used to do religiously, even during the day. Lena thought it was just an old woman's superstition. She laughed the first time she uncovered the large antique mirror in the upstairs hallway. It was beautiful, ornate, black wood carved with vines and tiny faces. Faces she didn't notice at first, not until she leaned closer and saw their mouths frozen in a scream. She told herself it was just craftsmanship. That's how antique stuff was. Weird and dramatic. But then came the whisper. It wasn't from her phone, and it wasn't from outside. It came from behind her. From the mirror. She spun around, her chest tight, her breath catching. The mirror showed only her reflection. Just her. Pale, tired, still in her hoodie and loose sweatpants. The face she hadn't really looked at since everything went to hell last year. She laughed nervously and walked away, but the whisper came again that night. This time, it said her name. Lena. She shot up from her mattress on the floor, heart pounding. The mirror across the hallway from her door reflected nothing but shadows, but she could feel it. Like something on the other side was staring back. By morning, the whisper was gone, and Lena told herself it had just been a dream. Stress, sleep paralysis. She'd read about that before. Logical, right? Still, she stayed away from the mirror the next day. She avoided the hallway completely, going around through the back stairs to get her coffee. But by evening, as the sun bled orange through the dusty windows, she felt drawn to it. Not curious, compelled. She told herself she'd just peek. 1 second. Just to confirm that it was just a mirror, that she was losing it over nothing. But when she looked into it again, her reflection was wrong. It looked like her, sure. Same long dark hair, same hollowed cheeks. But the reflection wasn't quite matching her movement. She raised her right hand. It raised its left. Normal. But then it smiled while she didn't. Lena stepped back. Nope. No. Not today. She threw a sheet over the mirror, heart racing, and this time she nailed it to the wall. She wanted it out of sight, and more importantly, out of reach. That night, the whisper turned into a voice, low, wet, like someone drowning slowly. Say my name. She sat up in bed, trembling. The voice came from the hallway, from behind that sheet. The nails creaked softly, as though someone, or something, was tugging on the fabric. Lena grabbed her phone, her hands shaking so bad she could barely open the flashlight. But the second she stepped out into the hallway, the whisper stopped. Everything was silent. The kind of silence that screams at you. The sheet hung loose at one corner. She didn't go closer. She couldn't. Her feet wouldn't move. She turned back, closed her bedroom door, and shoved a chair beneath the knob like she was in some cliché horror movie. But this wasn't a movie. The fear crawling up her throat was real. As she sat in the dark, rocking slowly and listening for the sound of her name again, she realized something that made her skin crawl. The voice had asked her to say its name, but she never asked it for a name, which meant it already knew hers. She didn't sleep that night. Every time her eyelids drooped, she heard it, the faint sound of breathing just beyond the door. Not her own, not even human, something too steady, too deep, like it came from a throat that hadn't tasted air in centuries. By sunrise, Lena looked half dead herself. Her eyes were bloodshot, her fingers cramped from clutching the fireplace poker. She dragged into the room. But the hallway was quiet again. peaceful even. The kind of silence that felt too perfect, like someone had swept away all the noise to lure her out. She didn't open the bedroom door until noon. The sheet was back in place, both nails resecured. She hadn't touched it, she was sure of it. Lena stepped cautiously toward the mirror. Her skin crawling like 1,000 ants were moving under it. Her breath fogged in the hallway. It was cold. Too cold. She reached up, touched the fabric. Dry, still there, still nailed. Then something moved under the sheet. A faint bulge pressed from the inside. Just a slight push, like fingers brushing against fabric. She staggered back, nearly tripping over her own feet. The hallway seemed to tilt. Her vision blurred. The fabric stopped moving. She ran, back to her room, back to the chair, under the door routine. She didn't come back out for the rest of the day. But that night, it escalated. She woke not to whispers, but to laughter. Her own laughter. Except, she wasn't laughing. It was coming from the mirror. She stood frozen in the hallway, hand clenched tight around a flashlight, staring at the sheet-covered glass. The laughter stopped. Then, muffled through the fabric, came her voice again. "I like your face, Lena. You wear it so well." She nearly dropped the flashlight. "Nope. No. I don't know what the hell you are. But you're not welcome here," she shouted, backing away. The voice laughed again. This time, the sound was lower, echoing, like it was reverberating from the very wood of the walls. "You called me Lena. Every time you looked. Every time you listened. That night." She ripped the sheet down in a fit of desperation. She wanted to smash the mirror, to destroy it. But as soon as the glass was exposed, her reflection stared back at her, quiet, still, smiling. Not just a smile, a grin. It raised a hand and pressed it against the inside of the mirror. And slowly, so very slowly, Lena's own hand rose to meet it. But she wasn't moving it. She was frozen in place, her muscles locked, her joints aching from resistance. The reflection's eyes turned black, pitch void like black. Then the whisper came again, not from the mirror, but from inside her head. "Now I know you. Soon you'll know me." The lights blew out. The hallway went dark. Lena screamed and stumbled back, crawling down the stairs on all fours, hitting every step. Her knees scraped, palms bruised. But she didn't stop until she hit the kitchen floor. She gasped for air, blinking back tears, trying to rationalize, trying to survive whatever this was. She grabbed her phone and searched mirror demons, possessed reflections, ancient mirrors, spirit traps. Anything, any clue, and that's when she found something. A story, an obscure one, buried in a blog from the early 2000s. A woman in Poland who described an exact mirror. Same frame, same carvings, same grin. She said it didn't show your soul. It showed the thing waiting to replace it. The blog ended abruptly. No follow-up posts. Just a single comment under her final entry. "I like your face too, Cassia." From Mirrorgeist 23. Lena stared at the screen, her mouth dry. She didn't sleep that night either. Because the next time she passed the hallway, the mirror wasn't reflecting the house anymore. It was showing a forest, with trees that looked like they were screaming. And in the middle of that forest, her reflection was waiting, grinning. Lena didn't remember falling asleep, but she woke up on the kitchen floor, her neck stiff, her arms numb, and the phone dead beside her. Outside, the morning light pressed weakly through the curtains, but it didn't feel like day. Not really. It felt like the world was holding its breath. She stood slowly, bones aching, and limped to the sink to splash water on her face. Her eyes met the small mirror hanging above it, and she recoiled instantly. The reflection stared back. But it wasn't following her movements again. She blinked, raised her right hand. The image copied her. Normal. Maybe she was just paranoid. Maybe she was just exhausted, hallucinating. That could happen, right? She leaned closer. The reflection smiled first. Lena screamed and yanked the mirror off the wall, smashing it against the sink. Shards flew everywhere, one nicking her palm, warm blood blooming instantly. She didn't even feel it. Her head spun. The air in the kitchen grew heavy. She couldn't breathe right. Something was watching her. It was always watching her now. She wrapped her hand, grabbed the car keys, and made for the door. She needed to leave. This wasn't a haunting. It was worse. Something was waiting in that mirror. Watching her. Learning her. Becoming her. But the front door wouldn't open. She jiggled the knob, turned the deadbolt, kicked at the frame. Nothing. It was like it had melted into the wall. She tried the windows next, sealed shut. Nailed down. She didn't remember nailing them. She didn't remember anyone doing that. She turned to the hallway. The mirror was uncovered again. Just hanging there. Waiting. She hadn't touched it. It was watching her. She knew it. That grin, it was patient now. Too patient. Like it knew she was wearing down. Lena collapsed onto the living room floor, burying her face in her knees. She needed help. But she had no signal. No neighbors. No one would believe her if she somehow got out a message anyway. Then she remembered the attic. Her grandmother had been obsessed with strange things. Old books, crosses, candles, jars of dead insects. Lena had always thought she was just another eccentric old lady. But maybe she knew about the mirror. Maybe she left something behind to stop it. Lena climbed the attic stairs, pushing past cobwebs and the musty stench of rot. It was colder up there. Not just from the drafts, but in a way that felt personal, like the cold had intent. She found boxes of old photos, a rocking chair, some dolls, but under one broken trunk, she saw something odd, a book, wrapped in burlap, bound by wire. She cut it open with a pair of scissors and flipped through. Latin, symbols, hand-drawn diagrams of mirrors with figures crawling out of them. Notes scrawled in her grandmother's shaky handwriting. It watches. It waits. If you say its name, it becomes stronger. Never speak to it. Never look for too long. It will copy your face until it becomes you. One page stopped her heart cold. There was a sketch. Her grandmother had drawn it herself. It was the exact mirror in the hallway. Below it, "Do not let it learn your name." Lena's breath caught. But it already had. She heard the creak of wood from below. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Someone was walking through the house, and Lena was still alone. She crept toward the attic door, heart in her throat, trying not to let the old boards creak beneath her weight. She peeked through the crack in the floorboards. The hallway mirror reflected two Lenas now. One still at the top of the attic steps, and one standing at the bottom, grinning. Lena backed away from the attic door so fast she knocked over an old lamp. It crashed to the floor, and for a moment everything went still, like the whole house was listening. Then the sound of footsteps came again, only faster this time. The thing that looked like her was climbing the stairs. Lena bolted to the far side of the attic and shoved a dresser in front of the door. She didn't know if it would stop the thing, but she had to try something. Anything. Her hands trembled as she flipped through her grandmother's book again, desperately looking for a way to stop it. One passage was circled 3 times in red ink. A mirror demon cannot fully take form until it is named. But once it learns your name, it needs only to be seen. Seen and believed. She felt sick. Had she believed it, even for a moment? She remembered the first time she heard it whisper her name. How she froze. How she stared at her own reflection too long. How she'd started talking to it, yelling at it, acknowledging it. Maybe that was enough. The thing slammed against the attic door. The entire frame rattled. Then it stopped. Silence. Lena didn't breathe. She didn't move. For a full minute, nothing. Then she heard her own voice, from behind the door. "Lena, please. It's me. I need help. I'm scared." It sounded like her. It was her. But broken, fragile. A near-perfect copy. Too perfect. Lena gritted her teeth. "You're not me." The voice paused. Then, in a whisper that crawled under her skin, it said, I'm more you than you are now. The door creaked open slowly. The dresser didn't move. It just opened. Like the thing didn't need hinges or locks or wood. It could go wherever it wanted, because Lena had let it in. She backed away, gripping the book like a shield, and then she saw it. It, standing in the attic doorway. A perfect reflection, same eyes, same scars, same bloodied palm. But the grin, it didn't belong to any human face. It stepped forward, its voice soft, mocking. You've already started forgetting who you were, haven't you? Lena raised the book. Stay back. It laughed. Why would I? I've already waited so long. Watched you cry over him. Watched you rot in this house. You gave me all the pieces. I just needed you to notice me. Lena flipped the book to a marked page. One smeared with something that looked suspiciously like dried blood. A protection sigil. She didn't know if it worked. She didn't know if she believed in any of this. But she read it anyway. Out loud, the thing shrieked. Its face twisted, not like it was in pain, but like it was shedding its mask. Its eyes went black again, its mouth opening wider than it should have, unhinging like a snake's.
Histiopsotetot!
It bellowed, but Lena kept going. The attic lights flickered. The room trembled. The mirror downstairs, though she couldn't see it, shattered. She screamed the last words, clutching the book tight, and then everything went still. No more voices, no more footsteps, just silence. The thing was gone, or so she thought. She collapsed, panting, on the attic floor. For the first time in days, she felt like she could finally breathe again. The book lay open beside her. Her hands were shaking, but she was alive. It was over. Until she turned around to grab the book, and saw herself still standing in the doorway. Still grinning, still watching. Lena didn't scream. She couldn't. The air was gone, sucked from her lungs the second she turned and saw herself again. But it wasn't just another copy this time. The thing had changed. The face was the same, but the body. It was taller, shadow stretched. Like it had been pulled upward by unseen hooks. Its fingers hung too long, and its legs bent the wrong way at the joints. It wore her skin like a mask, but it wasn't pretending anymore. It had waited long enough. You thought words would stop me, it whispered. Its mouth didn't even move. You spoke them too late. You saw me too long. You believed too deeply. Lena backed into the corner of the attic, gripping the book to her chest like a child hiding behind a pillow. You're not real, she whispered, trying to ground herself. You're just in my head. I was, the demon said, but your grief. It opened more than just mirrors. Her breath caught. My grief. The demon grinned wider. He left you, remember, left you hollow, angry, alone. And what do hollow things do, Lena? They call. You called. Not with your voice, but with your soul. Lena's knees buckled. She remembered the weeks after the divorce, the months of silence. The night she stood in front of that hallway mirror and screamed at her reflection, sobbing into the glass, asking why she wasn't good enough, why nobody stayed, why it hurt so much to be left behind. She had called something. She just didn't know what. You wanted someone to see you. The demon cooed. To really see you. I didn't mean, she choked. But I did, it said. I saw every tear, every breath you wasted asking for answers. I watched you curse your face, your body, your name. It stepped closer, dragging its fingers along the attic wall. You hated yourself, so I took the burden. It raised one of its long, blackened hands and touched its face. Her face. And now, I wear it better. Lena looked down at the book. She still had one page left. Torn, smeared, half unreadable, but it held a banishment ritual. A way to sever the tether. It required her own blood, a mirror, and the demon's true name. Not her name, its name. But she didn't know it. Until the attic mirror, half covered behind an old sheet, suddenly showed something. A word, written in reversed letters across its foggy surface. She stared at it, heart pounding. The demon turned sharply. It had noticed too. No. Lena read it aloud. Folklore. The demon shrieked so loudly the attic glass cracked. Its face split down the middle like porcelain under pressure, black smoke pouring out from the wound. It lunged at her. She cut her hand with a shard from the broken sink mirror she'd pocketed earlier and smeared her blood across the sigil in the book. "I cast you back, Vekaroth," she screamed. "You are seen, you are named, you are nothing." The room collapsed into chaos. The walls split. Light tore through the roof. The demon flailed, screaming her name in every pitch and tone it had stolen from her over the days. And then, silence. When Lena woke up, she was in the hallway. Daylight was pouring through the windows. The mirrors, every one of them, were shattered into dust. Her hand still bled faintly, but the book was gone. She checked her phone. It was working again. A single text sat at the top of her inbox, from an unknown number. "You look better now. Keep it that way." She threw the phone across the room. Days passed. She boarded up the attic, burned what was left of the books. She even had the mirror frame taken down and buried deep in the woods, far from anyone. Somewhere it couldn't whisper again. But something had changed in her, not just fear, not just trauma, awareness. Because every now and then, when Lena passed by her own reflection, in a store window, in her phone screen, in the puddle outside her porch, she caught her face smiling back before she had a chance to. And sometimes, she whispered her name, just to see if something whispered it back, and sometimes, something did.